Hey, how you guys doing? We got another World War III update coming right at you. We got Russia. Russia sailing just 4 nautical miles away from Latvian waters. They're testing NATO. Russian heavily armed warships entering NATO waters. Putin's stepping up his game. These Baltic nations are not happy. They're not okay with this. They see Russia as a real threat. And the U.S. and Russia, they do these types of incursions all the time, and they've been building over the past couple of years. This is to the point of Cold War standards here, people. And let's pump the brakes real quick and not make Russia out to be the bad guy or the aggressor in this situation, because the United States does this stuff all the time. These 3 warships entering NATO waters were in response to the U.S. sending a DDG over there as well in the Baltic Sea. So this is a tit for tat type scenario. It's something we've seen with the airspace incursions, with the troop movements and the troop deployments. We're getting reports right now, through mainstream media. So, I mean, how credible can that be, right? But we're getting reports out of Syria that Russia and Iran know that they're continuing their production of chemical weapons. Now, whether or not this is true or not, the mainstream media is pushing it. The globalists are pushing it. So that means we got to watch to see what Trump and his administration does. Because we've already seen that they're willing to take physical action when it comes to chemical weapons in Syria. So if the media and the globalists push this narrative that Syria is, on pace, they keep on creating chemical weapons, that now we got to see how the U.S. responds. Because they've been talking about setting up safe zones in Syria, which I think is a huge joke. I don't really think it's going to go anywhere. I feel like there's no real safe zone. I think that's terminology that shouldn't be used when it comes to Syria. In the Middle East in general, to be honest. And we know how thin-iced Russia and the United States relations have been. So we really need to see how this comes. Because there's been a lot of theories of where World War III would break out, whether it be North Korea and Syria. Or Syria, sorry. And every event is a stepping stone to the globalist agenda, to their main goal, which I believe will come to a climax with World War III. And we see one of those events, one of those stepping stones that just happened this past weekend, was Macron getting elected in France. Now, Macron's emails got hacked. He had a bunch of emails leaked saying that he was for the establishment. He was for Islam. He was basically for everyone but the people of France. But the people of France got duped. So there's still some speculation whether or not corrupt ballot was put out there to get Macron elected. But I mean, I don't know. He won in such a landslide. You really wonder whether or not the French people just are they're going with the trend of the day here, being questioning some of these Islamic extremists, not Islam in general. But these Islamic extremists, man, at that point, you're racist, you're an Islamophobe, you're a big old piece of shit, you're a pile of scum. See, I'm not saying they're the good guys, but there's a few countries that the globalists definitely don't have on their agenda list. And one being Russia, one being Russia and Vladimir Putin, who has his own agenda. Once again, I'm not saying he's the good guy, I just don't think he's part of this global agenda. And guys, I don't think that the situation in Syria is going away. I think it's definitely going to get worse. I've said this numerous times before. When the media stops talking about it, that's when you need to be worried. Now, they've stopped talking about North Korea. They've been stopping talking about Syria. So now, we got to wait for a big event to happen. With North Korea, it's the nuclear test. And with Syria, it's honestly whether or not another false flag chemical attack will take place, and how the Trump administration deals with that, or how the Trump administration and Putin's administration deal with each other in Syria. And you can't forget about Iran, Syria, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. They're all over there. They're major players. We've seen proxy war after proxy war after proxy war in the Middle East. And now I think that, it's going to all come to a conclusion with Syria. But guys, this was just a quick update. This is not something that you when you first read the headlines, you go, oh, wow, Russian warships are in NATO, like something's about to pop off. I don't think that's the fact. I think that this is something that happens on both sides of the aisle all the time. The U.S. does this just as much as the Russians do. All right, you hear about it more from the U.S. perspective because the globalist media is backing the U.S. They're not backing Russia. Russia's not a part of their agenda. Russia, in their minds, is a means to an end, a pawn, just like North Korea. But like I always say, guys, we gotta keep our eyes peeled because U.S.-Russia relations, how they go can really define major events that happen in the coming days, coming weeks, and coming months. Because I really think that, Russia, China, and the U.S., these are big three major players that the globalists are pushing towards World War III. And whether Syria or whether North Korea is that tinderbox that, that the match of war gets lit upon, we're just going to have to see. But I do believe it's one of those two countries that will spark World War III. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. Keep praying. And guys, the globalists think we're fucking stupid, guys.